Hello students, welcome to Commerce second year. With our previous class of services of stockbrokers and or say stockbroking firms, need for the service of stockbroking firms, we have successfully completed first unit, that is chapter 2, stock exchange, whose weightage is 12 marks, 10 plus 2 in the IPE. Sometimes it may go up to 14 also, 10 plus 2 plus 2. There we have learnt about stock exchange functions, types of speculators, about SEBI, their powers and functions. Then the new topic for this year, we are very lucky to have such a dynamic topic of stockbroking, because it is giving you a new employment opportunity. Remember that we have to create the opportunities. Ordinary people will wait for the opportunities, whereas excellent people will create the opportunities. So, as a commerce student, if you dig into the knowledge of stockbroking, stock markets, so you got a very great opportunity of becoming a stockbroker also. That gives you enough money and wise knowledge about the capital market. So, that is also an area you can think of, rather than always thinking about a employee or always CA. So commerce means only all the people have just got the idea that only CA is the option. Apart from CA, we have got various employment opportunities and offers, like stockbroking is there, tax consultancy is there, even you can go for cost accounting, assessment of cost of the goods, you can go for law, you can go for management studies by writing MAT or CAT. So various opportunities are there. Once again, we meet offline. Maybe from next month onwards, hopefully, we can discuss a lot. So whatever you are doing, do it in a serious manner. Because already the classes are started, we are doing our best. We are expecting the same from the students also. Now this unit 2, third chapter is, chapter's name is Banking Services. Chapter name is Banking Services. It's very simple. The services rendered by a bank is called as banking services. The services rendered by a bank is called as banking services. So, in order to know what are the services provided by a bank, all of you should know what is a bank. What are the various banks you can see? Online means I could have taken some examples from you. What are the various banks you can see in the market? Can you imagine something? We have got blood bank. In blood bank, what do? They store blood. It means that they received donations of blood from some people, from donors, and they sell or give to someone who needs blood. So blood bank, they take blood from some people and give the same blood to others who are in need of that. Clear? You've got book banks, means books are available to read. And more popularly, and you are very much used to, is power bank. Nowadays, without which you are not able to attend your online classes, or which has become inevitable nowadays. So power bank is a supportive device for to recharge your phone. Because nowadays you see that if you are attending online classes, even though it is charged for some times, after attending 2 or 3 classes, the charging will get reduced. or you are moving from one place to another place, your mobile may get discharged. So immediately what we do? We use power bank to recharge our phone. So I hope you understood what is power bank. So power bank restores power. So you keep charging at home during the night or some leisure time, and you can carry it outside. So even while moving also it will recharge your mobile. That is called power bank. So just now I told you three things: power bank, book bank, blood bank. But this bank is not that. This bank is separate. This bank is money bank. Okay, we are here in commerce. So always we have to think about how to create money, how to earn profit. Clear? How to distribute money in the society. That's what our theme should be, our aim should be. So this bank is a money bank. Very simple. So what it will do? While discussing about the capital market, I told you that every society has got two sectors. One is surplus sector, the other is deficit sector. So whether it is a capital market or a bank, what it has to do is, from surplus sector, it has to accept money. Accept money deposits. From surplus sector, it should accept. To the deficit sector, it should lend. Okay, lend money to these people. Who are in the deficit sector? Farmers, entrepreneurs, self-employees, households. Okay. The people who need money for their activities will fall under this category in deficit sector. Okay. Surplus sector, who will have in surplus sector? Same people, maybe some businessmen, some farmers, who have got extra or sufficient product, households who have got savings, industry people who have manufactured goods and made lot of profits, housewives who have saved their money, individual employees who have got the habit of saving out of their income. So employees, housewives, business community, some farmers who could get good product and who have earned profits and have got some saving are come under the category of surplus sector. Surplus means having income more than expenses. Having income more than expenses is called as surplus. So certain people have got that luxury or say flexibility of earning more money than their expenses. So when they have got income than expenses, when income is greater than expenses, that will be converted into savings. For example, if per month I am earning 50,000 rupees and my expenditure is only 40,000, what will I do the remaining 10,000? I will go for saving. In order to save that, what I have to do? I have to deposit into bank, or I have to deposit in a post office account. So somewhere I have to store it. So the bank is a place where the people store their excess money. Excess money is called as savings. When do we get savings? When income is greater than expenses. Try to understand the symbol. Income is greater than expenses. Income is more than expenses. That's what I have written here. Having income more than expenses, that will become savings. So these savings are to be converted into deposits. That will go into bank. Then what the bank will do? Just by taking your money and keeping into their cupboards or in their lockers, the bank is not going to earn anything. What it has to do? It has to circulate your money. How it has to circulate? After accepting your money, it has to lend it. To whom it has to lend? To the borrowers. Who are the borrowers? The people who are in the deficit sector are called as the borrowers of money. The people who are in the deficit sector are called as borrowers. Borrowers of money मीन्स जिसको चाहिए पैसे वो लोग बारो करते, उधार लेने वाले. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, if I am earning 50,000 and spending only 40,000, I could save 10,000 rupees. Then I will come under surplus sector. On the other hand, if I wish to buy a new car, now I have got only 4 lakhs with me, another 6 lakhs I want to take from a bank as loan in order to buy the car, I will fall under this category, under deficit sector. Because I wish to buy a car, I want to buy a car, but I do not have sufficient money. So what I am doing? I am borrowing that money from the bank. I am borrowing that money from the bank. So with this example and discussion, you have to understand that bank is the bridge between these two sectors. Bank is the bridge between surplus sector and deficit sector. So from surplus sector to deficit sector, what the banker will transfer? It will transfer funds. So with the help of the bank, funds are transferred from surplus sector to deficit sector. It's quite simple. Anyone who performs this activity is called as a bank. You establish, no problem, Sri Medhavi Bank, XYZ Bank, take the license from the Reserve Bank of India. If you are capable of doing this, you can establish a bank, no problem. Okay. Maybe 2 months back or at the end of last academic year, I think. In Kerala, one lady approached a bank to borrow money. To borrow money for her needs, for her cultivation of land or for her households. She was willing to take some loan from a bank. So as you know that in India people trouble. So the bankers did not give her loan easily. They troubled her. Almost they made her to visit bank for 60-70 times, put on a lot of conditions, asked her to submit various documents, and by seeing all these, the attitude of the bankers, she was vexed. Then what she has done, you know, very simple. She has explained the banking logic, the system of working of bank to her villagers, combined the efforts of around 60-70 women of that village, and she herself has started a bank. Okay. Initially she went to borrow money from the bank, but the bankers denied by saying this or that has shortfall, some document is not there. So by visiting bank for a certain number of times over a long period, maybe 6 months, 1 year, she was vexed and she gained the knowledge of how to run a bank, what is the prime activity of a banker, what is the basic requirement of a bank. So she has organized a group in her village. So combined the efforts and capital of 70-80 women of that village and started a bank. Now she has become that means bank owner, made her the villagers, the other members. Now easily they are circulating the loans among themselves and successfully they are running the bank. So bank can be established by anyone who is capable of doing this. So what you have to do? See, being a lecturer, I should be able to give lecture on a particular topic on my subject. If I am a commerce lecturer, means I should be able to teach commerce. So if you are a banker, if you want to become a banker, you want to establish a bank, the person who does banking duty is called as a banker. So it may be a firm or an individual. So if you are a banker, if you establish a bank, what it has to do? It has to transfer funds from surplus sector to deficit sector. What does deficit sector constitute of? It constitutes of borrowers of money. Here people do not have money for their activity. A farmer would like to cultivate his land but does not have investment. An entrepreneur would like to start a new business but does not have capital. Self-employees would like to start some small business concerns like maybe a welding shop, maybe a pawn shop, maybe a footwear shop, maybe a bakery. All these will come under, or maybe a auto cab driver. All these will come under self-employment sector. So self-employees require some capital to start their business activity. Then households for purchase of furniture, purchase of automobiles, etc., they require a lot of money which they can pay at a later date. They are not borrowing it free of cost. They will borrow at the present and in future, out of their earnings, they are ready to pay back. So if you are capable of transferring funds from surplus sector to deficit sector, you will become a banker. So bank is a bridge between the surplus sector and deficit sector which transfers funds. So what happens? In return, banker will collect from these borrowers of money, banker will collect interest. Okay, banker will collect interest and again to the surplus sector he will pay interest. Try to understand the word interest, what I have written over there and here. Okay. Here he is collecting. Here he is paying. So try to understand the size. Which one is large? That one. So he collects high rate of interest from the borrowers, will pay low rate of interest to the surplus sector. Banker will collect high rate of interest. High interest from the borrowers will pay low interest to the depositors. So who will be there in surplus sector? Depositors. Here I have given bank accepts money. So the people who give money to the bank are called as depositors or deposit holders. So to these deposit holders, bank will pay low rate of interest, but from the borrowers it will collect high rate of interest. The difference between this interest is called as income to the bank. Suppose here if they are charging 12%, here they pay only 8%. Okay, suppose for example, if I am depositing 1 lakh rupees in a bank, I will be given only 8,000 rupees as interest per annum. For 1 year I will get 8,000 rupees. But if I take loan from the bank 1 lakh rupees, I have to pay 12,000. So what is the difference here? 4,000. Try to understand the example what I am giving. If I am depositing into the bank 1 lakh rupees, 8% means only 8,000 rupees interest I will get. If someone is taking that 1 lakh rupees as loan from the bank for interest, banker is not going to give you any loan at free of cost. Remember this point. Definitely they are going to collect the interest. Similarly, on deposits also they will pay the interest. But there will be difference. Look at that example flowchart what I have written. Try to understand. The entire banking structure lies in this diagram. If this network, if you understand, you can speak on bank for 1 hour together. So bank collects high rate of interest from the borrowers. Who are the borrowers? The people who have taken loans from the bank are called as borrowers. Clear? Who are the people involved in surplus sector? The deposit holders, depositors simply. The people who have deposited their money into the bank are called as depositors. So these depositors will deposit money into bank. The same money bank will give to the deficit sector, to the borrowers. It will collect high rate of interest but will pay low rate of interest to the depositors. The difference will be income to the bank. You may get a doubt. Sir, is it not cheating? Taking 12% from someone and giving only 8%? Why the banker is taking the 4%? It is the reward for his efforts. You see, no one in the society will provide service at free of cost. They expect some incentive. They expect some reward. For example, here I am teaching commerce, means I am not teaching at free of cost. I will expect some money from the college for my efforts. Similarly, banker is doing all these activity, means he is not going to provide that service at free of cost. He wants some income because they also will have some expenses. Bank cannot be run on a road. They require a building, some employees will be there, some infrastructure is to be set up. They will have lot of expenses, like they have to pay for their employees, maintain internet, computers, building rent, stationery. Lot of expenses will be there for bankers also. So bank has to manage out of this income. So when this cycle works in a perfect manner, banks will be profitable. But unfortunately, if you are not able to collect rate of interest, loans back from the borrowers on time, and you are not able to manage your bank in a proper manner, that means selecting the money borrowers or the people who require loans, you give the loan to wrong persons. Unfortunately, they don't pay the interest on time, or they don't repay the loan on time, installments are not paid, then bank will be in trouble. So it is very risky. Clear? So you have to manage it in a balanced manner. So that is the reason banks are controlled by Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India gives guidelines. What rate of interest is to be paid to the deposit holders, what rate of interest is to be collected from the borrowers, okay, how much money you should keep it as reserve, everything. So banks are under the direct control of Reserve Bank of India. So we have got various banks like scheduled banks, commercial banks, development banks, etc. So in the market, whatever you see, like Andhra Bank, now called as Union Bank of India, State Bank of India, in the past 6 months you might have observed. Unfortunately, due to COVID pandemic, you are not coming out. But once you come out after this relaxation, or when the conditions become normal, you can observe that now Andhra Bank has become Union Bank of India. Prior, State Bank of Hyderabad, so many were there, State Bank of Hyderabad, State Bank of Mysore, etc., etc. Now all have become SBI, State Bank of India only. Clear? So like that, various banks were merged. Why the government of India went for merger of banks? Because many of the banks were in losses. Okay, they were not maintaining proper accounts. Their funds were misused, incurring heavy losses. So it was a great burden on the government to pay the salaries, etc. So in order to provide effective services and to make the banking sector more effective, Government of India went for merger. Means around 22-27 banks have become only 11 banks now. Okay. In future even we see some more banks also will be merged, and mostly it will go for privatization, because nationalized banks are not working in an effective manner and not providing better services. Basically they are not earning profits. Clear? So banking job is a very, very risky job, but if you are capable of doing that, you can go for establishing a private. Even you can see nowadays S Bank is there, HDFC Bank is there, ICICI, all these are private banks. So any person who is capable of doing that can establish. Now, I hope you understood what is a bank. In our next class, we discuss about functions of bank. Once we establish a bank, what it has to do. Okay, once we establish a bank, what are the various functions it has to perform? Very interesting and very important, that we discuss in the next class.